everyone, this is Peak Entertainment and we are back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to talk about Joker Folie A Deux once more and talk about its absolutely disastrous second weekend of box office release. So there could be potentially spoilers for the film throughout this video, so just beware, and you can check out both my non-spoiler and spoiler reviews of the movie itself within the channel, and I'll leave some links within the description. So we'll then talk about the box office numbers, covering the period of Friday the 11th to Monday the 14th of October 2024. And in terms of the movie, it was indeed the ultimate disaster, especially in the US markets where the movie suffered a horrific 81% drop in its second weekend with a measly $7 million gross, way down from its opening of $37 million. It was overtaken by the number one by the horror sequel Terrifier 3 and also The Wild Robots, which came in at number 2. In actual fact, it barely matched Beetlejuice, which in its sixth weekend of release managed to almost match the same amount that the Joker did in its second weekend of release. Even more telling was that that sequel itself recently was released on digital format. Now, in terms of Joker, the movie has an overall domestic total of around $51 million, which is absolutely incredible that it still looks like it won't even manage to gross $100 million within that domestic market. Internationally, the movie managed to make around another $30 million for a global tally of around $165 million. So in the end, what do all of these numbers mean? Well, to be honest, this weekend confirms what we already knew from the opening week, that Joker Folie A Deux is simply going to be one of the biggest flops of 2024 and also one of the biggest superhero movie flops ever. Its stunning 81% drop within the US cinemas was the biggest decline for a superhero movie ever, exceeding that of the likes of the Marvels, The Flash, Morbius, even going way back to the Hulk from Ang Lee, which suffered around a 63% drop, which was considered large back then. And this is absolutely incredible when, again, looking at the huge success of the first movie. Now, not only was this the biggest drop for a superhero movie, but just in general for a film itself, it was absolutely possibly amongst the biggest drops ever for a mainstream release such as this. Now, I'm sure there'll be other films that have had a bigger drop, but I don't think you can really take that in consideration because most likely those are films of a much more smaller budget, a much more smaller release and promotional marketing behind it. There really is no excuse for what is essentially a massive tentpole movie. Again, we draw references that huge unnecessary budget of $200 million, 3-1, still cannot find any true justification regardless of the increased salaries for all of the actors and the directors. There is still no way, no how that this movie should be costing anywhere near the region. At the very least, the likes of the Marvels and the Flash have the excuse of having extravagant, elaborate special effects and action sequences. But of course, the Joker, this sequel being much more of a character study, had no such excuse this time around. And it really is quite unfathomable where many people like myself thought that this sequel was going to be right up there amongst the highest grossing movies of the year. There were many experts and fans that were indeed expecting Joker Folie A Deux to outgross Deadpool and Wolverine, which at the time I think was perfectly understandable. You're coming off the billion-dollar success of the first film, which had a very good reception, especially from fans. And then we look at the MCU, particularly in its Phase 4 and of course its Phase 5, which has been nowhere near the dominance that what it showed within its first 3 phases. So I think it was a reasonable argument to suggest that Joker Folie A Deux could somehow outgross Deadpool and Wolverine. But of course that has nowhere near been the case. Deadpool and Wolverine, as it's sitting now, is at around $1.3 billion. That film itself recently went digitally, and of course the Joker is going to get nowhere near that. But when we look at the overall tally, how much more will Joker be able to gross? Well, at the moment in time, it's actually looking as if it will struggle to get actually $200 million worldwide. We're looking at a prospect where this movie may not even manage to break even, let alone turn a profit. Many analysts have determined that this film would have had at least to have made $450 million in order to see some sort of area of profitability, but that's going to be nowhere near the case. And again, it's just staggering for a movie that had so much hype and expectation, albeit not as much as the notoriety and the controversy of the first film, but there was still a lot of people going into this film, certainly at the very least expecting it to make much more than what it has done so far. So as expected, there'll be many content creators and videos and streams talking about this overall failure. To be honest, we've already covered the reasons why it failed in the previous weekend coverage of its opening release. So I don't think we need to delve too much more into it. There's not really a lot more that can be said that hasn't been said already. Just simply put, that Joker Folie A Deux was a massive disappointment and now a massive box office failure. And again, it's a cautionary tale going forward for superhero movies in general, especially we refer to again James Gunn and his upcoming DC universe and his Superman movie. Hopefully he will learn from the mistakes that were made throughout this film, and hopefully they will go all the way to make sure that Superman, when it comes out in 2025, doesn't experience anywhere near the same kind of disaster that we have seen within Joker Folie A Deux. There's my reports and feelings and quick coverage of the second disastrous opening box office weekend of Joker Folie A Deux, without question now one of the biggest flops of 2024. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any other movies, television series, or any other topics within the pop entertainment and culture scene that you'd like to see me cover within the channel, then let me know within the comments and I'll see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves and I will see you very, very soon.